My thoughts are for the people in Houston and Florida, and thank goodness it's not here. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bell? Commissioner Boyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Pope?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Okay, motion passed. Unanimous. Okay, Montezuma County Planning Commission welcome you to this meeting. People who choose to speak during the time allotted for public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, and depending on the number of people wanting to speak, this time may be reduced to allow everybody a chance to address the commission. When you come to the little mic there, oh, there is, okay. Please state your name and address. Prior to any comments you make. Except as otherwise provided by law, no action or discussion shall be taken or conducted on items not appearing on the agenda. If you come up and speak, please. If you have something to say about one of tonight's permits, just hold your time until that permit's covered. You're welcome to come up and speak about whatever you'd like to. Anybody? Okay, seeing none, we'll move along. Have roll call, please.
Commissioner Clayton?
Here.
Commissioner Bell?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here.
Commissioner Pope?
Here.
Commissioner Pierce?
Okay. This is a public meeting for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a high-impact and special use permit application submitted by Verizon Wireless, Agent Jeffrey Shera, for the purpose of the, pretty close? You can correct me. Okay. Construction and operation of a cell tower, 3-sector self-supported tower, approximately 170 feet in height on property owned by Montezuma County, located at 15519 Road CC, Pleasant View, Colorado, east of Highway 491, north of Road CC, situated in Section 31, Township 39 North, Range 17 West, NNPM. This is not a public hearing. However, public comment will be heard and considered in the Planning Commission formulation of recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners. Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes.
Okay. Findings? Any comments?
We did notify agencies on September 7th. There were no concerns from water companies, electric companies, Dolores Water Conservation District all responded. There were no concerns there. The county owns the property, so I can only say that I hope that there's proof of ownership and that the taxes have been paid. There is a letter, an agent letter in the file from the county from Rob Engelhardt from Melissa Gruner, the county administrator, giving Mr. Shearer the right to represent this application. Zoning in the immediate area consists of a mixture of industrial, commercial, existing subdivisions that were created, in the early 50s, an era 3 to 9. There's a mixture of light and heavy industrial, commercial, and residential uses in that area. There are some large-scale agricultural uses to the north. Of course, you just said applicants are proposing to place a communication tower consisting of 175 feet. There is an access that's used by the Montezuma County Road and Bridge Department. This access will be used also for the proposed access tower. They are actually going to turn off on Road BC, so they won't be accessing up here. They'll be accessing down here, which is what CDOT prefers, instead of them turning off into this location. Just a little bit safer since they have that turning lane and all that stuff there. Of course, there's no septic permit or water required for this location, but there is existing septic and water for the county shop that's there. It's not located in a floodplain. They've requested a waiver for fire mitigation. From fire-wise, with it being pretty much, it's bare grounded, there's really no fire concerns there, so they don't have any concerns. So the planning department would recommend a wildfire mitigation affidavit. And the county weed program actually sprays the county properties, so we recommend a waiver from that as well. There is no geologic investigation required or anything like that. This is pretty simple.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay, I'll bring it to the commission. Any discussion? Oh, yeah, want to come forward? Any discussion?
Hello.
Well,
Hi,
well,
how are you?
This is Jeff Sheriff.
Would you like to add anything to that, what we said there?
I think Shelley did a good job presenting what we want to do. The reason why we're doing this is because we need to improve service in the area, and we can't do it at our existing location. A couple other things. The facility is not speculative. It's being built for Verizon's use only, not only specifically, and tower height pretty much,
It's 175, right?
it's 170,
With
it's
the-
170, 105 foot.
175 with the lightning front.
A 5-foot lightning rod on top, but it matches what Verizon has on Farmers. citizens in the area. We're, as you all know, I was in here, a couple of weeks ago for another tower off of 145. That one was approved on Monday, so we're doing at least two in the rural areas of the county. Any carrier, and I'll say, can co-locate on it. They'd have to apply. They'd have to submit an application. But when you say telephone, it could be more. It could be internet. There are also those kind of providers.
It could be internet also.
Yeah, it sure can. They'll have to lease ground from the county because Verizon's only leasing enough ground for their use.
Is it the, my curiosity here,
Okay.
is it the competitiveness between cell companies that a lot of times they won't share towers with another cell company like AT&T or?
I think that's the way it used to be 10, 15 years ago, but now everybody seems to be co-locating on towers together. Networks have set up different, and I'm not an RF engineer, but working with this, it's cellular, so that there's different cells. So you have certain places where you could place towers and place antennas. But now people are trying to co-locate on existing towers because of the capacity issue. Because this is no longer coverage; it's capacity. It's people. There's so much demand for it that they're putting lots more sites.
Okay.
So when you say somebody else has to negotiate with the county for space on you talk about space on your tower or space on the ground?
On the ground, I said they'd have to make an application to Verizon to locate on the tower. And I think in an acknowledgement there that Verizon, will allow co-location.
I did agree with
Yeah.
that. I did agree with
But the ground, there's only enough ground for Verizon's equipment, so if somebody else comes along, they're going to have to lease space from the county.
that. Gotcha.
Okay. You're talking about the surface equipment?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion. If there's no further discussion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed high-impact special use permit application for the construction and operation of a 3-sector self-supporting cell tower approximately 170 feet high.
Can we change that to 175?
Yeah, got the line rod on it.
Sorry.
No conditions.
Just that it gets typed up at 175 feet.
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah, it's like that.
Stan.
Commissioner Pierce.
I stand it on. Sorry, Stan.
He did.
Speak softly. Any discussion on the motion? Have a call?
Yes. Commissioner Clayton?
Aye.
Commissioner Belt?
Aye.
Commissioner Boyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Pope?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Okay, motion passed. And vote was unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Okay, moving along. Can I call, please?
Commissioner Clayton?
Here.
Commissioner Belt?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here.
Commissioner Pope?
Here.
Commissioner Pierce?
Okay, this is a public meeting for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a high-impact permit application submitted by Jane Gustafson for the purpose of operation of a sporting goods store known as Goods for the Woods at 24720 Road K3, Cortez, Colorado, situated in Section 22, Township 37 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is not a public hearing, however, public comment will be heard and considered in the Planning Commission's formulation of recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners. Was evidence of letters to adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes.
Okay.
Chairman, I'm gonna recuse myself from this. I'm a adjacent property owner. so.
Okay, just for
Set
this
this
one,
one out.
right? I believe you have adjoining land to this that you allow them to do some target shooting on or something?
Correct.
like that? So you, okay. Just so the public understands why you would. Planning Department findings.
Okay.
Boy,
Agency, this one's short. Agencies were notified on September 7th. Again, there was no concerns from Empire Electric, the water company. There was no concerns from the city of Cortez.
it's within the area.
Right. The only concern that was brought up by them was, they just asked if we'd heard from CDOT, which we have not yet, because that access has been kind of contentious in previous applications with it being used to access so many things. I don't anticipate.
Yeah, but it is like 5-lane with a turning median, right?
Mhm.
4-lane.
Yes, it is. Proof of ownership and statement of taxes are on file. Zoning in the immediate area is very diverse. It has a lot of small acreage, larger acreage, light industrial, commercial, heavy industrial uses. That's a very, it's right outside of the city limits, so it's in our commercial industrial overlay, so it's very, very diverse there. It has that historic access off of K.3, just like I had mentioned. There are no new additional utilities that need to be installed, so what's there is already existing, so they're able to service what they already have. They have septic permitting under 45 or 5412, but and their uses isn't going to require any additional upgrades to the existing system. They're not in a floodplain. There's no irrigation water attached to that property. They have requested fire mitigation affidavit. The Firewise group just recommended that we supply them with the fire materials that we have and approve that. Other than that, we have,
No weed problem?
there's no weed problems.
Okay.
It's fair grounded.
Now, from what I understand, this is the old Slavin
The truss.
building.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sorry. Hi.
Is that it on the
Findings, yes.
Okay. Applicant, come forward, if you would.
Good evening, Ms. Jane.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Anything to add to what Leanne had to?
I guess not. I guess I should feel proud
Oh, no,
to
I've
think
been
my
down there. It's a
business.
great place.
Yeah.
I have,
I mean,
go ahead.
the turn into that's the county road that turns down to where we are is used so much by the Maverick gas station. That's really, and to me, if it's a high impact, they ought to fix that road a little bit. It's terrible right there. But it's used tremendously by Maverick
And we
gas
might as well
station.
just have a curb there instead of
They
what
should,
call
yeah,
a
Maverick-
driveway. 'cause
I
it
mean,
is
if you wanted the
bumpy.
county road just to be the county road, they'd have to block that off to where they just could pull into Mavericks.
Yeah, Maverick,
But it's
right now, is
tremendous.
using 3 accesses, and 2 of them are theirs and 1 is.
Yeah,
theirs
so-
now, Okay, so we got Meadow Gold, we got the sewer treatment plant, we got Maverick.
I don't know that the sewer, is the sewer treatment
Right,
plant's
shut
really
down,
not
yeah.
even
It's not.
used.
It's
It's
not.
just sitting there.
But
And
then
we have
there's a
residents.
subdivision,
Right.
Yeah.
that's up there as well.
Okay. I guess I have a question.
If I draw that much traffic, that'll be wonderful.
Well, it seems to me that usually a permit like this comes before a business opens,
Yeah,
and yet
we're here.
you're there and you're open and you're doing business, so I'd like to understand why this is more or less an after-fact type permit.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that because I'm not up on all that legality. It was business before that was heavy equipment stuff. We're just normal.
Store.
We're just cars, pickups. I don't know, I never even thought about it. Never even thought it was something. I think
Am
I
I
was
correct in my
given,
assumption?
I was given
Generally,
paperwork on
something
it.
like that,
Okay, yeah, I was given paperwork on it, but in reading it, I said, well, I'm not a high impact, and I didn't even take it as something that it involved me. Truthfully, I didn't understand it. So I didn't think that it involved me. I thought, I'm not a high impact, for heaven's sakes. Maverick's the one that's using all the road. But that's why it just went. Ask me about a gun or archery bow, and I can answer your questions. But I don't know all this other stuff.
It's a nice
But
thing.
anyway, thank you.
Any discussion on the commission here?
Do you have any idea what you expect for daily traffic? I mean, what are your hopes?
100 cars a day.
Yeah, that's
cars a
what
day.
her max was 100, you know, on a good day.
On a good day, that would probably be.
Christmas Eve.
Do you expect that? I mean,
Right now, we're probably getting. Well, that's a hard one to say. 30 to 40.
okay.
We've only been open for 3 months. I
Right.
mean, it's taken off faster than I thought in a year's time we'd be doing about what we're already doing.
Well, that's a good thing.
So it's a blessing.
Yeah.
We've offered a nice store for the area that I thought was a very much of a need for this area and for outreaching areas. Even though we're in Durango, it saves an hour for or 2 hours for a lot of people to drive, and just our knowledge and what we sell. I just felt like it was something I needed to do.
Yeah.
We do have another location in Durango.
Yeah, we've been there for 30 years.
You guys are packed with stuff in that
And
store.
And that store couldn't grow anymore.
No.
We're at our seams in Durango, and there was no place to get any bigger, and I was led to come out here, and that fell into my laps, and it just worked out, and it's been exciting ever since. I have never been afraid that it's not going to be a good business. It's something that I felt I was led to do.
It is a vast improvement with that area right there. To bring
Oh,
something
thank
in
you.
like that, it's so.
We tried to make it very, not just a store. We put a lot of our personality into it.
It's interesting.
We still have a whole mess of logs that we purchased out back that my husband put a little sawmill up out back, and every piece of wood, if you go in and look at that, every piece of wood he cut.
Oh, wow.
We designed that whole thing. It's just our personality. It has a lot to grow. It has a lot of room to grow.
Good.
And then we were able to set up a 3D archery course on the property next to us. We don't do gun shooting, we do archery shooting. And that, I think, is really we're gonna draw some good excitement from people.
So you're using someone else's property for the archery shooting. You have an agreement for liability and all that kind of stuff with the neighbor. Okay. Will this be something that anybody can show up at any time and shoot
Yep, it's
their
there.
bows and arrows, or is there gonna
Only
be-
when we're open. They can't come use it if we're not open.
Yes.
But yes, while we're open, it's set up permanently. It's not like something that you set up, we're gonna have a shoot this weekend. It's there all the time. In the wintertime, if it slows way down to where we don't feel like it's getting used, we might pull our targets inside so they don't get beat by the weather. But for 8 months out of the year, it'll probably be there permanently, yeah. It's
But when you
20,
go to
takes,
shoot, you have to sign that.
you have to
waiver.
you have to pay and sign a waiver to go shoot, yeah, you just can't go out there.
Do you know what the sand district intends to do with the treatment plant there?
No, sir.
I just wondered.
Make a swimming pool out of it.
I never,
I don't know.
I was on the sand district when those were put in.
The property's so
So
junky
they've
right
been
there,
for-
when you turn in, someday
there
maybe
for
they'll
almost
sell it and
70
we'll clean it
years.
up or something, but, yeah, it's junky right there.
Yeah, I have no idea. That would be something, we have utility meetings, with other infrastructure people once a month. So I can bring that up and ask them
Yeah,
if
you
they, okay, I can do
There's
that.
Okay.
3 of those, so,
Yeah, there's 2 down in the canyon too,
yeah,
and they're all shut.
they're all shut down, yeah. They're bypassed.
The skateboarders wanted new skate parks.
Oh, Lord.
Okay,
have
let's get
mercy.
back to the permit. Um, Any further discussion before I go to public comment? Okay. Nope. I'll open this for any public comment. If, Going once, going twice. Seeing none, we'll come back to the table. Any further discussion?
Well, I think, everything that's in conformity, I think it's nice to see a new business come in, something that's gonna bring new blood into the community, and, especially this time of year with having so many hunters coming into the area, it's nice to leave some of their money here, so
Thank you.
spread that around a little bit.
I was
Yeah,
in
I got nothing.
Walmart the other day trying to get some gear for muzzleloader hunting, and they didn't have what I wanted. And they said, "Have you been to your place yet?" I said, "No, but I'll go." So
Thank you.
it's nice at Walmart.
Yep, we have to do
Yeah.
that all the time in Durango because you just can't have everything. You just
Yeah.
can't. You just can't have it all. So they're always sending people back and forth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got nothing
I'll
further.
entertain a motion if there's no further discussion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed high-impact permit application permitted by Jane Gustafson for the purpose of the operation of a sporting goods store known as the Goods for the Woods at 24720 Road K3, Cortez, Colorado, located west of Highway 491, south of K3, situated in Section 22, Township North, Range 16 West, New Mexico, Prime Meridian. No condition.
Condition, Bob?
Hmm? Any discussion on the motion?
Do you need to include anything
No, we
about
haven't
CDOT?
seconded. What?
Anything from CDOT? We hadn't heard from them yet,
We have not.
so apparently there's no major concerns with them right off the bat.
Well-
No, if there is, I will definitely present those to the Board of County Commissioners prior to the approval
Yeah.
of your permit. However, with the thought of you expanding in the future, I will say that if you do expand, come talk to me first. Because it does require,
Not necessarily building, just inside.
Okay.
We just have room for a lot more stuff in that store than we do the
Yeah,
Durango store.
inside's fine.
yeah,
If
inside's
you-
fine.
if you
Outside,
plan on
No.
expanding-
outside, come talk to me.
Not planning on doing that.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
building a good, bigger business.
I'll second
No, not
that
planning on
motion.
building buildings or
Okay.
making the building bigger. Nope.
Any discussion on the motion?
I think we got CDOT covered on that one, right?
Yeah.
I don't see
I mean, I
that,
don't see a
yeah. I
problem.
don't see an
See,
issue
we
with
got-
5 lanes already right there and you have a turn lane and they've just worked on
Oh,
it.
it was a truss factory
Well,
too,
I
and it
don't
had
think-
trucks
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
had.
trucks, yeah.
I don't think it's not a contingency as much as it's a discussion.
Well, the
Yeah.
amount of traffic, I think, would be the only
Yeah.
difference between the trust plant and
Okay, cool.
Commissioner Clayton?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
the, Aye.
Commissioner Boyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Pope?
Oop.
Oh, sorry.
Stan.
Pierce, Commissioner Pierce.
The other one checked out.
Recused. Okay, sounds like the motion passed. And the vote was unanimous. And you can come back up here, Rob. You're not gonna get away with.
Is that?
Do I get to drive home now?
Yes, you do.
Do I,
I'll call
I,
you tomorrow.
do you,
Well, or maybe Monday.
say that again?
I will call you on Monday. I am flying Han Solo today and tomorrow, so
Okay,
it's hard to get off the phone.
cool, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks,
you.
Jane.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Clayton,
Still here.
Commissioner Boyd,
Here.
Commissioner Bell,
Here.
Commissioner Pope. Here. Commissioner Pierce.
Okay, moving along. This is a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding an AR 1034 rezoning request and pre-sketch plan for proposed amendment to the Warner 3-lot minor subdivision on property owned by Ted and Connie Niergaard. Okay. Revocable trust located at 36250 Highway 160, Memphis, Colorado, consisting of 227.11 acres plus or minus, situated south of Highway 160, west of Road 37, in Section 3, Township 35 North, Range 14 West, New Mexico, Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Do you guys have those? Ryan, do you have the certificates of mailing?
Certificates for the mailing?
Huh? Okay. I don't have those.
Was the sign posted? You want to come forward, applicant?
We'll definitely make that a consideration.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Did you have anything to add? I will add one thing, not having those slips of paper. That's going to be contingency if this is approved, that you will have to have them before it goes to the commissioners.
Right.
Okay. Generally, we have them this evening, so.
Ernie's on vacation. So,
Okay, you want to add anything to what Leanne has presented? As far as,
I didn't present anything yet.
well, we haven't done it yet. I'm trying to get through this evening, it's going to be a long one, so. Okay, any findings?
I do.
I figured you did.
Agencies were notified on September 7th, 2017. We did get notified by Memphis Water that there is water availability at the time, but there has not been taps secured for the 6 proposed lots that are in addition to the 3 existing. There to the 6 proposed over here, but these ones are already secured. So that is something that I feel that is concerning. We want to make sure that that's in place. As far as any of the other agencies, we're not concerned about anything. The city of Cortez wasn't concerned about anything. Proof of ownership and statement of taxes has been provided. Zoning in the immediate areas, AR 1034, ARES, AGZ, AR 35 plus, and A80, so it's pretty diverse in its zoning. There's an existing interior road which is used to access the first 3 tracks that were created a little over a year ago. On the west side of Road 37, this road runs along the south side of the 3-lot development and would connect to the proposed 6-lot expansion, and would end at the corner of proposed lots 4 and 9. The road would be required to be constructed to road and bridge standards through the extension of that red sign road, which would be owned and maintained by the applicant.
So is that a 60-foot wide?
Yes.
Okay.
Septic permits would be required to be obtained by the property owners that purchase the additional 6 lots if approved. There's no requested service or historic service of irrigation water on the property. It's not located within a floodplain. Again, we have the noxious weeds and the fire mitigation that is being requested to have affidavits for that. We did get a response from Firewise that said that they thought that there might be some mitigation that would need to be done prior to being approved. A preliminary review of the property, so I would recommend that be a contingency as well. Haven't heard from the county's noxious weed program, but again, would like to make that a contingency if there is issues with that be mitigated as well. We do have preliminary covenants in file. We are, the applicants have stated that the covenants that pertain to the existing 3 lots here would also incorporate into these lots here. In the original application, the planning department recommended that since it was such a short amount of time and the additional 6 lots weren't incorporated into their original plan, that those lots be part of the original 3-lot subdivision here to make a 9-lot subdivision. But since that time, these 3 lots have sold, which would put Mr. Warner in a difficult position, stopping, the sale of, stopping the sale of those 3 lots because it's in the process of an application. So we are proposing to have 2 separate, so this would be a separate subdivision, unlike what it says in the public notice in the application. But they would run under the same HOA or CCNRs as this. So the road that goes in here and comes up here and accesses all this, the maintenance and how the CCNRs operate would be combined. Have I given you enough to digest?
Mhm. Okay, bring it back to the commission. You have anything to add to that?
No, she cleared that up as far as what it says on there. We can't add it to the current because they're already being sold.
The permit cost is gonna be different.
Yes, with that being said, with the additional lots, with it going to a major development, this was a minor development. Adding these would make it a major. So I'm recommending that these 3 lots pay the difference between being a minor development and a major development, just because because it was planned in the beginning of their application process, but not disclosed at that time. So make up that difference.
That was gonna be my question, because we approved this, I think, seems like only a year or so ago.
Yeah.
About a year.
And at that time, I'm sure we always asked what other plans there would be for the future with that other remaining land. And at the time, I was pretty sure that we were told that there was no plans.
The way we've gone about it is as it's successfully done, then, once they're sold, because we're not gonna invest anymore until it goes. We're not trying to circumvent the process of that, that wasn't, I guess we weren't aware that, I guess what your aim was with that question. We're not trying to
Well, we
circumvent
just
the
don't like
cost
to
or the.
piecemeal.
Yeah, well,
when
and,
it comes down to it.
right, but I'm not gonna continue to do it if it doesn't, or I wouldn't, if these 3 didn't work, which they haven't, so we're, back here planning for more. I just didn't, I guess, if that question was asked, we maybe didn't understand the point
Well, I'm
of it.
gonna ask it, because each one of those lots now is 10 acres, or they're about, right?
Right.
So they could be actually broken into
We
3
put in
or
our
more lots
covenants,
each.
we
That's
put in our
6, 9,
covenants, they
18.
cannot be
It's
split up
in the
again.
covenants that they can't be.
And including
I
the
mean,
3
because if
that are
that's your
there.
plan, we need to know it
Yeah,
tonight before
yeah.
we approve this. And if you come back in the future with this,
To re-split them up.
you're not
Yeah.
gonna have a friendly commission.
Yeah, I understand.
What we've done is this, I originally, I'm Ryan's granddad. 4 or 5 years ago, I had Ernie set it up into 35-acre plots, and I was gonna sell 35 acres. I was an old developer, so I don't wanna do it anymore. But, in Ryan, in what we did with Ryan, he said, he built some homes a few years ago, and then he wanted to buy 35 acres and see if it works. He's been building homes over in Durango, and he wanted to build some here, so the So we sold him a 35-acre lot. That's all Ryan owned when he did that. And then with the understanding that if it worked, then we'd develop, or he'd develop some more. When he goes out of it, I get out of it. I sell him the lots, and then he develops them. So, you know, it's, I pretty well, you know, this is the way we're kind of told at the time to do this, not by the county, but to just do the 35, and then we'd do another one later if it worked. If it didn't work, Ryan wasn't going to buy anymore because he can't afford to buy the lots and then develop it, the development costs. So I've still got another, after these two, if he buys these two from me, then I've got 3 more, but they're not, I'm gonna leave in 35s. They're remote and it'd be very expensive to develop. And so my plans are to sell those to an individual and what
You
happens.
do understand the rules on 35 acre versus.
Yes.
Right, and yeah,
Okay.
Dan?
Questions from the commission?
During the discussion of this first subdivision, was there any discussion at all of this other subdivision or not?
I don't have anything in my notes.
That's normally a
reflecting that, and,
question that comes up,
on the
though.
previous application, it says no, that there's no further development proposed, at that time, you know, and again,
So you're not aware of any discussion of further development?
well, not until this came to the planning department.
And how many months later did it come?
The original,
Because this sure seems like a short span of time.
just a second here, I apologize. Actually, the original one was in, sorry, I apologize, I'm trying to figure out
You're
when
fine.
Probably-
July 28th of 2016 is when the application was signed.
So July of
Little over a year.
2016, and we're just over a year, and we're doing 6 more.
Yeah, which we've done the development and they've sold 2 and in the process of finishing the house on the 3rd one, so decided we go forth and, you know.
And none of these 6 were planned when you're doing this 3.
sir,
None of these 6 were even planned before this 3-lot development.
Not unless this one
platted
worked,
or-
no.
Yeah, not platted or thought, you know, how they would be done, but, or even sketched up, we just, once it was done, we decided, well, then
Going back to the original permit, the answer was no.
Thank you.
Before we have further discussion from the commission, let's go public and see what we got. So I'll open this up for public comment. Anybody is come forward, state your name, address, and
Excuse me, I'm Scott Malinsky, 36092 Highway 160. I have the 160 acres to the west of the Nearguard property. I've had that since 1993. Do the county rules and regulations apply to all of us or just some of us? I sold one 35-acre tract to Mr. Simback, and my property taxes increased tenfold. I also lost my agricultural status. The Nearguards have taken one piece of property and turned it into 11. They still have agricultural taxes and have no cows.
let me just correct one thing right there. You do not have to have a cow to be considered agricultural.
Okay.
And we can't discuss property taxes, how they're raised or lowered. That's at a state level.
Well, and let me just clarify as well. Your property taxes and your zoning are completely 2 different things. you can be zoned heavy industrial. We have several properties down by the airport that are zoned heavy industrial, but they're vacant and they're getting taxed as ag. Until you actually implement that use onto your property, that's when you get taxed that. It's not, your zoning and your taxes are completely two different things.
Okay,
Just so you know.
okay. So, Walt West is who Ted bought his property from, and Lance Knoll is who I bought my property from. And Lance Knoll bought his property from Walt West. Walt West and Lance Knoll created this easement coming from the highway. It's a 40-foot wide easement.
Could you give him the pointer so he could?
How does it work?
Just push that button
There's a
and
little black button. Yep.
there you go.
Okay. There's my property line there. And we don't show the road, my road going to the highway. That easement and road was created and built to service my property. The near guards have put 2 houses on it and now say that it's closed, that I can't do any development. That I can't do anything.
If there's an easement, that turns into a civil. Not really anything that.
Scott, that property doesn't belong to me. You know that.
I did.
Okay.
Ran those guys in it
Yeah.
every.
So are you talking about property that's north of actually the proposed development?
No, west.
It's not even on that.
Okay, so they put gates up on the road and say we must close them. This is on my road. There are no cows. They're harassing. The man that I sold 35 acres to wanted to build a home, and they blocked it, put up a sign with no trucks over 10,000 pounds. So he starts this business, a rental business. It's very similar to what I was told I couldn't do by the county. And that starts a war with all this traffic that comes up our road, people going too fast. He couldn't control them. They're driving through tall grass. It could start on fire. There's no on-site supervision for this guy doing his business. And what he wanted to do was build a
Can you show us
house.
on the map what roads you're talking
Yeah,
about?
I'm a little confused as to what road you're talking about.
Well, this is my property line.
To the west of that line?
Yes. 160 acres
Okay.
there. Okay.
What road were
Where's
you
the
talking
road?
about?
There.
I thought your access road was,
Off this other side?
Is there access to the subdivision?
No, it's off of a completely separate.
Here's a big map.
Huh? Well, we're trying to.
trying to
We're
understand.
just trying to understand.
It's not on that map, it's farther down. It's not on that map.
The problem that we have as neighbors is the gates and the harassing of using our easement to get to our property. And them saying that I have no rights to do any subdividing, and that they have closed the road with the blessing of CDOT.
I don't understand what's going on here.
The right to subdivide doesn't lie with him, it lies with the county and the planning commission. So just because somebody tells you something doesn't mean you can't submit applications and do it.
Right.
So people just can't tell you what to do. There is a process for you to plat and subdivide if you so desire. They're not the final authority on that.
I understand that.
So the access,
Can I make a comment?
just a minute, let me finish what I'm doing.
Do you need the pointer?
I do, because something is confusing me, and I may be just totally out of it. But my understanding of this is that the access to the subdivision is right here. Am I correct? And you're talking about a road that's up here.
Yes.
Then I'm confused what this access has to do with this access. Explain that to me. That's what I need to give I get around.
Okay, I was hoping that before you granted more special privilege to them, that we could get the mess that's been created on the other side of the property cleaned up. It's destroying people's lives.
In what form, I don't know what form we can help you with. This sounds like a civil matter. I may be wrong, but
Sure. Right, when it turns into a civil matter, so there's nothing as far as an access goes.
is there a legal easement for you on that property that you use?
Yes.
No, sir. Not on that road.
Yes.
So Aaron, you can answer this question. Does this not turn into a civil matter? Well, if you put a gate up closing off an access, that involves the sheriff's department. That turns into a civil matter,
Let me
correct?
try to simplify this, okay? As the near guards or the property owners of this expanded subdivision come into the county to ask for more development on their property, my client would simply like to point out problems with an adjacent property and adjacent access that are significant. And that is the point of the zoning code and all of that.
Well,
so
we understand
that the
that.
adjacent property owners can speak about problems that they have experienced with neighboring property owners. That's what my client is here to speak about.
I
Okay?
understand what our confusion was.
I do.
We couldn't understand with that access being to the subdivision why that was creating a problem, but I can see where it is now because it's also, they're using it access to their land.
It is.
That's not part of the subdivision. And they're claiming they can put a gate on it because they're a farm and.
Right, and then the whole expansion thing, you know, is just creeping closer to my
Where
client.
is the gate?
The gate is
I
right at
think
the
it's up
corner
there
of the
at the
little
top.
yellow
There are
piece there.
3 gates now. 3.
Property he's talking about is owned by my son-in-law.
So the gate, the first access
This
comes
is
up.
over here. This is the whole ranch. And this is a map of when it was cut it into 35s. This property belongs to my son and daughter-in-law. This, all the way here. They've got 40 acres in here. They have a house here and a house here. Mr. Malinsky's easement comes through here. He has a legal 40-foot wide, right? 40-foot easement through here. And my son-in-law, I don't know how to put it, but he's been a little unreasonable with the people and
With his gate.
with the gate. He wants this gate kept closed. And for reasons that I know what his problem is and I understand it, but that doesn't belong to me anymore, and I don't control it. So this easement that Mr. Malinsky got to go through there hasn't belonged to me for probably 10 years or something like that, but you know, it's a completely different matter. What he's talking about is a different matter. It doesn't belong to me or either of us, or either one of us. Our property line goes by this, and this, I sold 35 to Jim Shaner, and basically half the houses in there have been to my kids. My son lives here, my daughter lives here, my father-in-law used to live there. But,
What is his concern about a gate? If he has no cows,
Well-
why does he want a gate there? For security reasons?
Well,
or-
It has an issue with the traffic that's been coming up and down the road due to Simba.
it's something that doesn't have anything to do with
But
it.
and we don't,
Right, so
neither me or him have put
I guess-
gates up or.
Initially, we were thinking these properties were connected as
They're not
one
connected.
part. So this is a separate,
He is connected down here.
but the property owner with the gate is a separate piece of property.
Yeah.
Whose
So
property
that
is
matters.
this right here?
This is,
That's yours.
this is, this, I sold this to my son-in-law, and the rest of this is all mine.
So where's the traffic coming from?
Simbeck has opened, or he's put up some yurts and keeping, and renting it out as a bedding, as a nightly.
Where's that at
rental
on?
thing. It's over here. Something that Scott, cut off and gave, years ago. So he has put in a sort of daily bed and breakfast, something that Scott was told he couldn't do. And he's doing it
He's done it without any
permit or
Right,
anything
so
and
he's
such.
just kind
And
of,
so there's a increased traffic on this easement, and my parents have taken about it maybe the wrong way, but they just put up the gates and, tried to, instead of having a
It's
civil
not a lock gate.
discussion. Yeah, it's not a lock gate, but
He's
it's
not locking it.
it
They've
just
got
is
access
slowing
to
them
it.
down.
okay. Well, I understand that, but that's a separate
But
matter.
that
Trying to-
doesn't have anything to do with it.
And, yeah.
I mean, I can understand you
No,
trying to use this as an opportunity to
Yes,
clean up the
exactly.
problem up there,
Well,
but
just
I don't
to-
see where it's related, but,
Point out how this property owner has treated people with access easements.
well, not
in
these
the
property
immediate
owners,
area.
right? This
No,
is,
it's not.
Mr. Neargard owns the property, and it's how he has
No.
treated
No,
people.
he doesn't. I don't know.
You did.
I think he did.
When you built 2 houses on it and said that the road couldn't take any more development.
I think the accountant said that.
Okay.
I hear the angst, and I can try to understand what's going on, but I mean, I can't speak for everybody here, but I can't see the path forward for us as a planning commission to attach an issue that's up there to what's going on down here.
I'm not
They're
asking,
Different property owners, we can't really, I don't think it's our job to.
resolve
We can bring-
disputes.
We can bring it into the light of day and have a discussion about it,
but
but the relevance between the two are too far apart, in my opinion.
Isn't this something you could take directly to the county commissioner?
No, there are other issues. We wanted it to bring it to your attention as
And
a
you've done that.
neighboring property owner, which is what the public hearing process is about with the Planning and Zoning Commission. As I remember, the county zoning code is based heavily on what the neighbors think, okay? And the neighbors think not so kindly of Mr. Neargard because of how he's treated this easement on the adjacent property. That's a consideration to take when they're adding more lots to their 3-lot subdivision. Are they gonna have the same kind of problems? And if they are or aren't, is that treating people fairly? I mean, it is something to consider when you're approving this expansion that comes in a year after they started the first subdivision, which is very piecemeal. And I can see it going on towards Mr. Malinsky's property and compounding those problems.
all I was asking for was an opportunity to speak and be heard and have the hope that something good could happen to resolve these issues because people's lives are being destroyed.
Well, it opened up a discussion, so, but I don't believe that one access can directly affect this other one.
Well, you guys have the concerns about what's next. They've already gone from 3 to
Well, sure, but like I
6-4.
said, we can't take a civil matter that's going on for a property, the owner that has nothing to do with this application.
I know. Your concern was, why did you come in less than a year later, and why did you not disclose you might expand?
It's not like this is the first time this has ever happened,
I know.
as far as
But
a
is there
change of
future
plans
expansion?
and a
Go ahead and ask
subdivision.
them now. Do you have future plans to go to farther to the west?
No.
And we're gonna hold you to that. I mean, you come
That's
back in, you're
understandable. I mean,
gonna
I
have,
get your point.
because you said no on the first application.
Well, I didn't think this is, I don't,
You know, you should always try and think of what possibly might
right,
happen.
and
out
well,
there,
and
yeah.
possibly with these three, they are too low. Utilities are gonna be too expensive to get out there. The land doesn't offer well to subdividing. So,
And we have submitted the letter and another document for the record, and we will be supplementing that with other documents. We just didn't have copies tonight.
And just for your information, I read through everything that was submitted too. I mean, I did read it several times very closely.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I know his concern is not part of this permit, but don't you feel kind of compelled to try and work something out? As I know it's not you, but you must have influence on this person. And-
He's my son-in-law, so I won't say anymore, but I understand very much what Scott's talking about.
yeah, no, trust me, we've
And,
had conversations with
and we have
Scott
had
go about it.
conversations about it. And I've had I've tried to intervene with Leanne. I went in and talked to her about the deal. He's not upset. My son-in-law's not upset with Scott. He's with the Sinbacks going up there, and they put their B&B, there's people coming up at night. And Mr. Malinsky's upset with Sinback going up there and putting.
Oh, you're adding
Yeah.
6 more subdivisions. You're gonna create more traffic at night too. I mean,
Yes,
it's,
we're going through the process, and Stimbank he is certainly in process, and he's been told in his response to us that he doesn't care, he'll do whatever he wants.
Anyway, it's a completely different deal, but I understand where Ms. Malinsky's at. And
before we go any
the road
further, is there
that-
anyone else that would like to come forward and comment on this particular application? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Further discussion?
I have one thing to say. And I don't know where to go, but I have been through this process. And it just, I get a little bit angst when two things this close together happen and you say you had no plans for it. And it just bothers me just a little bit that within a year, you're in process for another one. But you say, nah, it wasn't even planned.
Well, no formal plan, there was a thought that if this worked, we would continue. There's no formal plan, we just barely got it sketched up.
Because it's pretty clear in the land use code that you have to disclose that stuff, and as I did stuff, I had to do it too. I mean, you circumvent a few things monetarily when you do stuff like that, and I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying they're just that
Yeah.
close together.
I see.
Well, it actually costs us more to do it this way. But, you know, the
Could
thing,
bring equipment in and out, I understand.
and it costs us more with the fee, we've got to go through this process again. And that's, going through the process takes time and money, and I think, I understood we pay the same fees.
I don't think that's true, is it?
I don't know.
No, on a major
Major
subdivision,
subdivision is
you'll pay
different.
different fees.
Well, and that's what I was recommending, contingent on what.
But if,
But
I'll
the
take
first
that
three-
your word.
first three
If
were
you're not doing it, you're not doing it. But it does make a difference. I want you to know that it does. And it makes a difference when you do a major subdivision and one of these monetarily within the county.
Right.
I know that.
Okay.
So, short and sweet, just the largest fee is road impact fees for the county. For a minor development or for single lot developments, with them being just off of the highway, not more than a mile off the highway, that's $1,400 per lot. With a major development, it's $2,750 per lot. So that's a huge, and not that that's, you know, and that goes into maintaining roads, you know, within 5 miles of the development. And then also, you know, I would ask you to talk about, if you would be so kind to talk about how you combine the CCNRs for your 2 subdivisions.
With regard to what she was talking about CCNRs and HOAs, you can put it, you can memorialize it in your documentation that you have annexed this new subdivision, so it's one HOA with one set of CCNRs. And that's outside the purview of what the county does. You can file those records at the courthouse. And that way, maintenance of the roads and all that stuff is combined because you have annexed them into one HOA. So that's what she did. It's not something that the county requires you to do. It's just, I think for ease of the whole thing, and understand who's responsible for a road and who travels on a road, it might be a good idea to look at it and see if you want to pursue that. To combine those and annex, is there an HOA involved? No. Just CCNR? Then you may want to annex this new subdivision within your CCNR document and split that road maintenance up so there's no grief. Otherwise, everybody's gonna feel like it's somebody else's property. Because they're taking from the exterior to the interior, and these people up here are using it too, and they're like, hey, why aren't you guys chipping in?
Yeah.
I can see where it causes a problem.
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
You know, they're kind of hard to make out. The interior road as it goes up and dead ends at 3 and 4. I cannot see what that is saying. Is that these are built to county specs, correct? This interior
The
road?
that's already in, yeah.
But this road, this
Yeah.
proposed road is not currently in, right?
No,
Okay, and as far as that turnaround goes right there,
it's a hammerhead
Okay.
for 2 county specs.
maybe I need some reading glasses. That's all you got on that?
Do you want me to, bigger?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Can you see it?
Well, I can see it, but I can't make out the dimensions. And
60 foot going in, but the hammerhead,
Down.
The
There
hammerhead's
you go.
62. Well, maybe
Yeah,
a little bit wrong.
it is.
the road is.
So the,
But what about the hammerhead at the end of the road?
I think it's 60 foot too.
well, it'd have to be bigger, be an hammerhead, but
So the road's just gonna go to here.
Right, and then you'll need it.
And he's putting a hammerhead in here.
it doesn't show the dimensions.
No,
of the
it didn't.
hammerhead.
It just didn't give any information on that. So
Put that on there.
the last one I did, the easement was 60 foot. You had to build the road to county standards, 24 foot wide.
Right.
And then the hammerhead covers the entire easement at the entire.
60 feet. Yeah.
Which all has to be, which is all engineered and signed off by.
By a.
Whoever's. Oh, that was my question. Nothing else.
What are your plans for the remaining property? Just to leave it in?
The rest of all I've got left, 35s and 35s. I'm got mine on the market here, and too old to handle two houses. We got a place in Arizona too, so I might build me a place on one of the 35s, a small house. And the other 35s, I'm gonna sell as 35s.
So those other 35s are accessed from the northern access?
Actually, they'll be accessed,
I think on the very last page, you can see it.
it's on, this is the only way we can access this, and we're gonna I think he put a 40-foot easement through here to get to this one, and then we'll have to get an easement when we figure out exactly where there's a road right along this road right here. There's a road to get back to this 35. We'll just have to do a 40-foot easement through there to get back to here. But we haven't went too far in the engineering until we know, go so far to know where we're
What
at.
remaining, 75 acres?
Do what?
What would remain?
No, I've got 40, about 120.
Not looking at that from a different. Does that show up on this?
You know, this has never been filed. This is the way we set it up as far
Is
as.
this just this area here?
Yeah, it's just this area here, so those other three are here, here, and here. So one of them's a big knoll.
Here's a topo that shows it better.
And so these aren't currently broke up down here, are they?
It's all in 100 and something acre, well, whatever these three acreage add up to, 40,
But your
100,
intention-
110 acres, something like that.
Your intention to break those up possibly into
No.
this, to these size tracts?
Yeah, these 40, 35, 40 acres.
We've got three of them in there, and we discussed that with Leanne. You know, same thing. She wanted to know if that was next going down the road.
I was just looking at access as far, so this access comes in like this? Is that how?
Comes in right here. What's the G point? now?
Oh, okay, so
Now
it's
we're-
coming
it is
down.
now a signed road.
So this will also, this is where the new lots are gonna be,
Yeah.
correct? And then where are the accesses?
They will come through that one to there. We'll have to, and then continue on past that hammerhead.
In this lot that'll go in here, there'll have to be an easement back there to get into this lot. Well, there won't have to. We could come. This will be the access to the 120 acres right now. That's,
So the access to these is gonna feed through this new addition that you're proposing to four
they could,
For-
you know.
possibly new down the road, or three more down the road.
Yeah.
Well, like you Tony, that if you do it the way you just described it, you're not gonna be able to do a 40-foot easement, you're gonna have to do a 60-foot easement all the way through. That's correct.
Well, that- yeah,
If you're
that- I
gonna be
guess-
stuck, you'll have to go back to homeowners and try to finesse that. I wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
You're right.
You need to get your 60-foot in there to begin with.
Well, I'm doing anything less than a 60 would require a variance from the county to begin with, which is not gonna happen.
Yeah, and so you need to do it up front, if that's the access you really want.
Since we had further discussion here, I would open it up to the public one more time. Going once, twice, three times. Okay. Back to the commission. Any further discussion on this, or is someone ready to make a motion?
Well, I'm still wrapping my head around that last
I would like to
addition.
just throw something out there for further discussion, because I know one of your concerns you had mentioned earlier, and I just want to clarify how it works when you further subdivide an existing subdivision. So if those 6 lots get created and they decide that they want to split one in half or split one into thirds, even though it's in the CCNRs that can't be done, technically, if we get non-opposition letters from all the people within the subdivision that they do not oppose that, then we move forward with that application. So I'm not sure how we can,
Is there a way to deed restrict it?
Mm-mm. Not if you get majority, if you have majority vote, right, with,
well, you know, and we've had several applicants that have done this. I mean, especially in subdivisions that have, 20 lots. They have to get all 20 lot owners to agree, to sign a notarized non-opposition letter to what they're proposing. So I guess just so that you know, moving forward, that I'm not sure how to make that impossible with that kind of a process. Just making sure everyone knows that
I don't
that's.
think you can make it impossible. They go through the effort to get adjacent property owners and lot owners to sign off on
Yeah.
it. I don't think they're going to.
So I just wanted to make that clear that, okay. I wasn't,
can you go back to the overhead where it shows the new proposed lots, please?
yes, sir.
Can I have that pointer? Have the pointer?
Is it down there? Does Rob have it?
Rob?
Okay,
It's
it's
right
right
in
in
front of
front of you.
Good thing it wasn't a snake, huh?
Hold on, let me get out. I apologize. Ooh. Isn't it painful watching someone else operate a computer?
Like driving with somebody?
There we go.
Okay. So I don't know if you heard that, but the discussion we just had, this area over here could possibly, you're looking at
35.
breaking those into
No, 35s.
35. But that will also be serviced through here, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Put in that hammerhead, that'll be the-
Actually,
Through your
the road
son-in-laws
curves,
or-
it goes, the lots aren't gonna be like that drawing is, but it goes from our red road.
This is a red road
Yeah,
here?
that's it. It goes to there now, and then it takes a 45 up. The road will be right through there.
Right here.
You know, they kind of got that lot somewhere wrong in there, the way it goes.
So if you put a hammerhead in here to service these,
But then there's an easement going straight on through, so.
is there already an easement in
No,
place?
No, that'll go in when we
When
do
the
it.
sale.
And it'll just go to that 135 acre, to the rest of the property. See, actually, those lots have never, or the 35 acres never been created. They're 100 and, whatever the 335s are, well, it's a little more than that, so that's 110 or 20 acres.
It's one piece.
It's one
It's
piece
not
now.
subdivided.
Yeah, it's not 3 lots.
Well, and that easement is indicated on the plat, on the preliminary.
Not clear through. Not that I see.
No, just to the,
Just to the hammerhead.
Just to the
Just to
hammerhead?
the hammerhead.
no,
They would
no,
be-
it's right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
No,
It
it's,
is continued through?
yeah, on lot 4,
Yeah,
on the north
it's-
side of lot 4.
Oh, I see it, yeah. Just, again, make sure it's 60.
Yeah.
So in the future, you don't get in trouble.
Yeah, maybe I need some spectacles, I guess. And look at the small print.
It's really small.
All right, well,
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed AR temporary rezoning request and pre-sketch plan for the proposed 6-lot major development based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impact on other properties in the area. Public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zonings. And then we need to make some contingency that the notice to neighbors are included, that Mancus water taps are secure, that Firewise has their review in, and that you guys comply with fire mitigation, and that the weed program needs to be mitigated. They need to go in there and do that plan for you.
And make sure everything, do you want to include the easement widths contingent?
The easement.
The 60 foot that's going off the hammerhead?
On
It's
final
it's on that
plat,
plat,
it'll
60
be
foot.
platted, on final plat, the 60-foot easement into the 120 acres will be platted. And I think that's just to your own benefit.
Yeah, no, I agree. If that's what he has showing on there, I don't know why it's in the 40.
And I don't know of any other contingencies unless you know of it. And just to put into the record, you guys, I think it'd be really good to somehow come together and mitigate this other issue.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
If you need somebody to stand in for each other or whatever, I don't know what's going on, but I think it'd be a good idea to resolve this. And that's out of our purview. I don't think there's anything we can do about it, but it's a lot of heartburn. I'd try to resolve it.
Well, you guys have got a lot of parties involved in it, and, you know, sometimes one thing doesn't directly affect another, but in this case, it does, considering it's family, it links into property surrounding, so it's in your best interest to everybody to be able to put
And
two
if the
cents.
real heartburn is a third party that's got a business going on there, then you guys need to figure out a way to do that without chewing on each other.
Can I also request that we make a contingency that the CCNRs are annexed?
Or what?
Annexed.
That they're combined?
The same ones?
Yeah.
Most subdivisions are combined within your CCNRs.
Actually, we'll probably do 3 of them. That other one, a long time ago, see, they're on that road too. So,
If you get it done before people own them, it sure makes it a lot easier.
Yes, no?
well, they are the same, but they're not. They're different.
It's not a,
I don't know how to do that, man. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that.
I'll go see a lawyer.
We can just request.
I can request that you guys check it. Okay.
There you go. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion, further than what we've already had?
I think we just had it.
Okay, take a vote.
Commissioner Clayton?
Aye.
Commissioner Belt?
Aye.
Commissioner Boyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Pope?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Motion passed. Vote one unanimous.
Good luck.
Go away. Thank you.
Gotta do your best to try and get that issue resolved. You know,
Yeah.
So it's affecting other landowners and your neighbors. So, you know,
Sorry. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, we'll have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Clayton?
Here.
Commissioner Belt?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here.
Commissioner Pope? Commissioner Pierce?
Okay, this is a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining an R3 to 9 rezoning request for the proposed lot line adjustment between Lot 1, consisting of 14.54 acres more or less, and Lot 2 consisting of 15.89 acres more or less of the Blackmer subdivision, both owned by Felix and Elizabeth Montezuma. Is that close? Sorry. Located at 5200 Road 21 and to be determined Road E, Cortez, Colorado, situated north of Road E, east of Road 21 in Section 18, Township 35 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
But of course,
Is that a C?
yes.
Evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes.
Got it? And was the sign posted? Okay, I'll come forward. Any findings?
Yes, sir. Agencies, there was no agency responses in concern on this matter. This is just a lot line adjustment of an existing subdivision. There are proof of ownership and statement of taxes. Everything's on the up and up there in the file. Zoning in the immediate area consists of AR 3 to 9, 10 to 34, 80 plus. It's mostly agricultural and residential in that area. The applicants are proposing to adjust an interior lot line within the Blackmer subdivision. The applicant owns both parcels, but it will change their zoning, which is why they're here. So this is a pretty simple one, luckily.
Really? You would have
They're-
missed all the fun.
I know, I know.
Now you know how good you have it. They're proposing to take 7.5 acres from Lot 1 and add it to Lot 2, making Lot 1 7 acres more or less, and Lot 2 23.39 more or less. They both have historic access. Lot 1 is off Road 21, and Lot 2 is off County Road E. Lot 1 is served by Empire Electric and Montezuma Water Company. The existing residence was built in 1904, just a skosh before we had septic requirements.
Yeah.
So we don't have anything there, but there are no concerns. There are no concerns with that. They do have existing service through Montezuma Water Company on Lot 1. That's $25, sir. We are looking for affidavits for the weed plan and the fire plan on this one as well. We did get a response from Firewise. They don't have any immediate concerns on this particular couple tracts of land. Other than that, we don't have any concerns.
How many other lots in that subdivision?
It is 3.
3 more.
No.
So 3 lots total.
Oh, okay.
I own 2 of them and then 1 more.
Yeah. Was
Is
that
there anything you'd
versus-
like to add to?
They're just, the only reason this is not, just a simple lot line adjustment is because it's changing the zoning. So that's basically why he's here, otherwise it would just be he wouldn't even have to come to you.
Good, then let's get you out of here. Any discussion?
What's the zoning change?
He's going from AR 10 to 34 to AR 3 to 9.
3 to 9.
That's
Yep.
That's it.
Just swapping, you can see,
I got
I
it.
don't even know where the,
Any public like to speak? I'll open
Thank
it
you.
up for you. Seeing none, come back to the commission. Let's make up time from the last one.
We just vote.
No conversation, no discussion,
I really have nothing.
none from the public. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners that a proposed AR 39 rezoning for a proposed lot line adjustment between lots 1 and 2 of the Blackmer subdivision based on the following. Proposed use is in conformity with the code, which it is. Proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support use consistent with the proposed zoning.
I second it. With no condition.
Discussion.
No discussion on the motion? Good to go? Okay, call for a vote.
Commissioner Clayton?
Aye.
Commissioner Belt?
Aye.
Commissioner Boyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Pope?
Aye.
And Commissioner Pierce?
Right.
Well, that was boring.
Motion
Come on, I was
passed.
looking for some more exciting
Vote was
than that.
unanimous.
I will call you on Monday, and we'll get you set up with the Board of County Commissioners and get this finalized so we can get you done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for your time.
Sorry for
Yep.
keeping you so long. We actually take applications and put them on the agenda as they come in.
Oh, okay.
So whoever has theirs in first.
Thank you.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
evening.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Okay, roll call?
Okay. Commissioner Clayton?
Here.
Commissioner Belt?
Still.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here.
Commissioner Pope?
Here.
Commissioner Pierce?
Okay, we're here. Okay, this is a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding an industrial, heavy industrial, INDHS, heavy industrial rezoning request and proposed high-impact permit application for an RV and boat covered storage business on property owned by P&D Investments of Durango, LLC, agent Sandra Rainey, located at 29499 Highway 160, Cortez, Colorado, situated north of Highway 160, east of Road 29, in Section 28, Township 36 North, Range 15 West, New Mexico, Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes.
Was evidence of letters to adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes.
And was the sign posted?
Yes.
Yes. You come forward. And
Finally.
we'll ask Leanne if, what kind of findings we had.
We did notice agencies on September 7th. We did not have any concerns from irrigation companies, water companies, electric companies. We do have proof of ownership and statement of taxes in the file, as well as an agent letter from the owner, with them being the agents.
You say you do.
Yes, we do have. Of course, land use in that area is very, very diverse. The fairgrounds is there. You've got Phil's World, the shooting range, lots of commercial, industrial, as well as agricultural, residential uses. This is also within our commercial,
Historic, too.
industrial. Pardon me?
Historic use too.
Yeah.
Macomb.
Yes. The flume.
No.
Yes. This is also in our commercial industrial overlay, which encourages this type of use. This particular property has been used for a variety of businesses over the years. There is a septic permit on the property. It's 3554. There's no concerns with that. The access, I have spoken with Joe Heinlein with CDOT, and she has no concerns with the proposed use and potentially having to amend the existing access permit. It's not within a designated floodplain. There's no irrigation. Again, we are asking for waivers for fire mitigation and weed mitigation. The Firewise did respond to us and just asked that we share fire mitigation materials with the applicant. But we did not hear from Ms. Loving with the weed program yet. Other than that, we're good.
If this is gonna be boat and RV storage, isn't it gonna be mostly gravel anyway, or pretty much?
Gravel, mostly gravel, yes.
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 I'm sorry, my hearing aids don't hear real well
I
sometimes.
had to put mine on tonight just to make sure I
I
could hear.
forgot to add really quickly that Mrs. Rainey got a variance from the state of Colorado to put her proposed buildings within 5 feet,
10 feet.
10 feet
I was
of
gonna ask.
the property line on the east side.
On the east side?
Yes, I apologize for that. That would allow for adequate turnaround room for RVs and backup.
Are they requesting the same setback on the entire perimeter,
No, it's the regular
It's-
setbacks on the rest of
on
it.
the rest of it, just 10 foot on the state side?
Yes, sir.
Whose property is that on the east side?
It's the state that's to the east.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was curious about the height of the building. It says 45 feet. What's the,
To allow for the big motor homes, for the just covered storage, keep them out of the sun.
45 feet high?
The height?
Oh, the height is only 17 feet.
17 feet, yeah, that's right.
It says
45.
45 feet.
45 feet deep.
Should be deep,
Oh,
the
okay.
length of them,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's 45.
It says 45 feet in height.
Oh,
We can change that.
I was wondering-
that's kind of high.
Big RV.
Four
Did we
stories.
do that wrong, Sandy?
We're stacking them 4 deep.
We corrected that.
I thought we did.
Yeah, we did. We corrected it. I know we did.
I know we did too.
I thought we were gonna put the
Yeah,
space
here it
shuttle
is.
in there.
I have it. This is where it's corrected. No.
Yeah, this says
You've
45
got
feet.
meat
Okay.
on. You got meat on here, but you didn't change the 17.
We will fix that.
Okay.
Okay, I was curious why we
Yeah,
was
that's
going
pretty
to go
tall.
so high.
I wonder how they're going to get them in there, right?
Okay, so if we approve this, do I get 3 storage for my RV?
We'll work something out.
Well, we're saying-
You just said that
Well,
out
thanks,
loud.
I have a shed in my yard, but it's not 45 feet tall. Okay, anything to add to what Leanne has said here as far as?
No, we've done one of these in Texas, and actually 2 in Texas, and our old properties are just beautiful. I mean, we don't run ugly-looking, facilities.
I have beautiful facilities.
Groomed and maintained, and on-site security. So it's going to be very high security RVs. And that's what RV owners want. We got a lot of money tied up in these things. I want to be
They
secure.
want,
Will there be outside storage too, or we
No,
want
sir.
that covered?
yes,
Oh,
sir.
yeah, we do
Out-
so. Yeah.
Outside storage, yes, sir. I'm sorry, you wanted to look at pictures of that?
Just throwing it on.
You've seen them, I guess.
No, I have not. But I will tell you that she's an applicant that you asked her for something and she is on it.
I'm telling you, I would not be here if it wasn't for her holding my hand. I promise you.
She slaps mine.
She's been a godsend, I kid you not.
I think
Well, it's nice to see something done with that property right there. It's sitting vacant for a while.
Yeah, it looks.
It looks pretty bad right now.
We're going to
but
deal with the weeds right first thing, I think.
I
Is there
can't
gonna
get
be-
weed control to call me back.
Is there going to be water available? Like a
There is
sticky-
water there.
Well, for the RVs.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't mean for filling like fresh water, but like for cleaning off a boat or something like that.
We
To
do
me,
have-
I've always thought of
Yeah.
opening a boat and RV storage myself, but I always thought that I would have a wash pad there for
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There is
people
a
bringing
pad,
boats
if you
back.
can, no, you can't see it on that picture.
We've done these in the past, and we've even had the septic dump stations as well. And they get so little use, we didn't see the really.
It's actually cheaper, a lot of, we have down there some mobile people that come around and they actually wash the motorhome with their big water things. And so it
Trucks.
doesn't leave any mud or mess or anything.
Sandy, can you see it on that one? I zoomed it in a little bit.
I don't know if you can see it on here,
What the
but
pad?
the pad is, you see that little dark place right there?
And we.
I'm shaky.
So am I.
I see it.
Anyway, that little pad is a concrete pad where they could go up there and do some cleaning.
brought it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On your application, it says, the applicant is requesting the county land use code to be relaxed to 10 foot for additional turning. And it says there's a non-opposition letter from Kip Page for the state land.
Yes, sir. That's on that right side.
Red.
That's on this side.
On the east
That's
side.
here.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But it doesn't say anything, it doesn't say the east side though. It just says to relax the land use code to 10 foot. So, as it's written, that would relax it for the other properties too.
No.
Oh.
The state was the only one that signed a non-opposition letter.
We didn't ask for
The
anything.
state land is this one in red. So Kip Page is the representative for the state, so he's the only one that signed the non-opposition letter for that 10 feet on this side. If we went any other direction, we would have to get a non-opposition letter from this property owner.
Okay, that's,
Let me open this up to the public. Any discussion or concerns from the public? You'd like to come up and speak? Going once, twice, 3 times, seeing none, we'll take it back to the commission. Any further discussion on this proposal?
I think Commissioner Bell said it for me. It'd be nice to see that all cleaned up and nice.
Okay.
We'll try to make that happen.
We will.
I'll entertain a motion then, if there's no further discussion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed heavy industrial rezoning request and high-impact permit application for an RV and boat covered storage business on property owned by P&D Investments of Durango, LLC, agent Sandra Rainey and Raymond Caruth, located at 29499 Highway 160, Cortez, Colorado, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and service are available or can be made available to support the uses consistent with the proposed zoning. I don't know of any conditions.
Weed.
45 foot.
The weeds
Yeah,
with
that's
a,
done.
with a condition on the weed control.
And to correct the permit,
And amending 45D. That
that was the high impact one, wasn't it?
It's only 17 feet high.
was 17. Okay, got it.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Kenny Belt. Any discussion on the motion? Nada?
Nope.
We'll have a vote.
Commissioner Clayton,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Boyd,
Aye.
Commissioner Pope,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Okay. Motion passed.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Vote was unanimous.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners.
Send us all the people you know with our people. Or boats.
All both. Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
Leanne.
You're so welcome. Drive safe, please. Yes.
I will.
Will they go back to Texas?
Her mom's not doing her mom's not doing it.
Okay, where are we? Is this really the last one?
Yes,
Okay, we got through it, huh?
yes,
Okay, roll call, please.
yes. Commissioner Clayton,
Here.
Commissioner Belt,
Here.
Commissioner Boyd,
Here.
Commissioner Pope,
Here.
Commissioner Pierce.
All right, this is a public meeting for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a high-impact and special use permit application submitted by Green Table Farm LLC agent owner Tyler Hoyt For the purpose of holding a variety of small events such as fundraisers, weddings, educational events, etc., on property located at 41478 Highway 184, Memphis, Colorado, west of Highway 184, south of Road 41.2, situated in Section 21, Township 36 North, Range 13 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is not a public hearing, however, the public comment will be heard and considered in the Planning Commission's formulation of recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners. Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
No.
Submitted but not complete, is that?
Well, neither.
Neither? Okay. Then why are we here?
You said that the letters were submitted?
No, we just need copies of the green.
I sent them to you.
Okay, I will look for those.
Okay. Applicant can come forward. Any findings from the planning department?
Yes. Agencies were notified on September 7th. I will look for the proof of certified mailings. If you have those with you, that'd be great. Oh, right there. Okay. We got those. Let me double check these guys. Let me get receipt, Tyler. I didn't get Ellen's email either. Okay. However, the property owner did not send the entire packet that was supplied. It was just the initial cover letter and a map. So there were a lot of people that were confused as to what was going on. We do have a signed statement from him in here that says, that outlines what you're supposed to do. That I can provide you if you would like. But other than that, it's the recommendation of the planning department that the application as a whole for having a variety of events be continued to next month. The one, from what we've heard from property owners who have responded, I don't think they're opposed to the farm to table event that's going to happen the 30th of this month, but they are concerned about what could potentially happen in the future and how that's going to work out. So the actual application didn't come in time to meet the criteria for public notice for the Board of County Commissioners. So after this meeting, we will be going to the commissioners and asking for a variance to proceed at least with the farm to table fundraising event, which is not to have more than 50 people. I did get notification from CDOT that there are neither of the accesses that are there. They're not permitted accesses. They were both grandfathered agricultural accesses. So they are going to work with the applicant on abandoning one of them and adopting one as a residential access.
As a driveway.
Yes. But then abandoning the other one. And I'm not sure which one you guys have talked about that you're going to be abandoning. She didn't
Where is the second one? I know there's one right across from the...
One right across from
41.2,
Sunwest,
but
and
the
then
one
we-
down by the shed too, is that where?
The shed. Oh, so there's a access road right across from Sunwest Estates Road,
Okay, go.
which is
Right.
41.4.
Right.
So there's a little gate right there.
Mhm.
And there's a second access road shared right there, which is where our house is and our neighbor's house.
Mhm. Okay. I saw the one, I was out there. Are you living in that school bus? Is that what you
Yeah,
live in?
that's my
Okay.
interns.
Okay. I was gonna go back and
It's a
say
good
hi,
place for
but I
them.
thought maybe it was just someone that...
No, so we own both. It came as a joint property. The 2.5 acre, you can see there's two. There's a smaller on the northeast corner, and then the larger ag property is 70 acres.
So have you thought about which access you would prefer to use?
I
Or?
would definitely prefer the one across from Sunwest. It's a way more visible pull out and pull in. The other access has a hill that is right about in here that kind of makes
Line of sight for the 41.2 is better, I would.
Right,
have
absolutely.
Okay.
Commissioner, may I
Just curious. What?
continue? Can I continue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were behind.
No.
Oh, my word.
So there is proof of current services from Empire Electric. Gas service is not going to be required for that area. They are using solar power to power the pole barn, but it's enclosed on 3 sides. They'll, with the future proposed events or whatnot, they'll potentially use tents or, you know, other easy ups or something like that. There's no water there. They have a water tank that they will be using for to serve water to people, potentially bottled water as well. There's also there's no septic down there. He does have a composting toilet. However, I did speak with Melissa Matthews, who permits those things. She says that is not allowed in the county, so we'll have to come up with another way, contracting a private company to come in and supply that. Most of it
Are you
boils
talking about just for the events?
for the events.
Okay.
Yes.
But for personal use?
Oh, and I'm not even sure about personal use. So.
Well,
The-
you said
the
within the
board-
county, yet we have campgrounds all within this county that have composting toilets.
And most of those are on,
Forest Service.
yes, Forest Service and state land.
Okay.
I don't think from what I understand, that the commissioners have agreed to adopt that as an acceptable way to deal with things. So until that's done, you know, we're,
Okay.
okay. So that being said, so again, potable water will be provided by a contracted company. There is irrigation water on the property, but that doesn't really pertain to what is being proposed here. The property is also located within a floodplain. However,
Chicken Creek?
However, Mr. Hoyt worked with our county floodplain manager as well as an engineer, and they determined that there was no mitigation needs required for the structure that's actually there, which is it's quite a bit high above Chicken Creek there. He's asked for the weed mitigation waiver as well as the fire mitigation waiver. Other than that, we're good. No findings.
Have anything you want to add to that?
I'll just kind of clarify what our intentions are, I guess. We're a small farm, my wife and I. My wife does catering, and she owns a small restaurant in town, and then I do the farming side of it. And we're really looking to expand into like exactly what this farm to school event is farm to table dinners. I mean, ideally, that's kind of a great pairing of our 2 skills is to be able to hold on-farm dinners for customers and people in the town and all that kind of thing. That's kind of the main goal of this, but then also education, farm-to-table weddings, things like that, kind of all under this tent that we built down there. So that's kind of our intentions is to grow our ag business. We do market vegetables, so we have customers in Durango, Cortez, Mancos, Telluride, you know, kind of the whole surrounding region, and just like to bring those people onto the farm. That's kind of one of the models in not only small-scale agriculture, but agritourism, which is something that the state is really looking into, and the county is really looking into expanding on. And this is kind of one of those opportunities that we see to expand into the realm of agritourism, to kind of sell that farm experience to people and to be able to add to our businesses as well.
I have a question for you. I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I attended several of these in Wisconsin. I read through your application, and the concern I have is it's like a blanket application for any event you want to hold.
I'm not looking for a blanket. I'm looking for maybe clarification on what you guys would like, because we don't want to do 30 weddings either. We don't even want to do 5. We don't want to have huge parties. We don't want to, be doing something every week. This is more just kind of an added bonus to our enterprise.
So I talked to the farm owner in Wisconsin, and what they were doing is they did a farm-to-table event and had big pizza ovens, they cooked ovens. I mean, there was literally 150 people there. They'd sell their vegetables and have this pizza party and everything. I asked him what his permitting process was. He actually had a food service permit and a business permit that it was set up as a business. The thing that I see a problem with, maybe with neighbors and stuff, is how busy you get. It never comes before this board again. And we're essentially giving you a blanket invitation to hold events all the time. Am I wrong?
Yeah, we're not going to.
Oh, okay. Because I don't think that's fair.
No.
Right, I'm not asking for that.
Well, I mean, the next event could be a race track or something. I mean, we have no idea.
I think
So,
if you're gonna run a business on a farm and do those type of events, I think this is kind of even out of the realm of what this application is asking for, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but you're asking to run a business there. And if you're running a business for profit, I think you need to secure the proper permits to do that. Because if it's done on a continual basis, there needs to be road access permits, how many people you think are gonna go in and out of there. There needs to be a real thought process gone into it, especially if you want to carry this forward and build it and make it into something. I think I don't see this application working. That's my opinion. It is kind of asking for a blanket application.
right.
If you can clarify that for
I
me.
mean,
You would need to clarify that that's not what's going on.
right, well, I would love to hear from you guys, like, what a cap would be. Like, how many events per year? How many people at an event? I mean, can you do something like that? Or, I'm not looking for unlimited free reign. That is not what I'm asking for. I'm asking to hold several events a year, probably under 5.
Well, typically, when we do an application like this, if it's an annual event, it will require a review every year. However, doing multiple ones in one year that may be different, you can't do it under one.
We have done that. We have a couple that do that. But what happens is each event that happens, they have to come in and basically go through the threshold standard summary, that those 33, questions, and answer those and make sure that they're not out of the realm of what's involved in the initial permit. If the planning department reviews it and feels like it needs additional review, then we come to you. Or, if we think CDOT needs to comment and they comment.
Okay. Granted, the permit does come across as a, open permit for any kind of event you want to hold. The way I see it, we have a high impact permit, which, do you have a special use on this one, too? Or just a high impact?
It's just, right now, it's just a high impact.
Okay. Now,
It says high impact.
And special
Oh, special use permit, yes,
okay.
sorry.
Those can actually continue as long as all the items and answers remain the same. I mean, you wouldn't have to fill out a
You
high.
cannot
impact permit.
expand. No, we wouldn't have to go through this process every time unless there was an expansion in use. But
Right.
again, if there was a limitation to frequency, duration, hours,
Mhm.
can't be past 9 o'clock at night.
The biggest issues that this guy had when he was going through his permitting process was traffic and sanitation. They wanted to know how much traffic was in there so they could supply sanitation and porta potties, and that they actually could manage the parking and the access.
Mhm.
And that was a real concern, and because of the different nature of it, he went in and did a permit for I think it was for the fall season, so he did it every weekend. I mean, it was very specific to what he wanted to do. And I think it's hard to get away from that specificity based on how many people are going to show up, and how many people, what are you going to do with the traffic, and what are you going to do, how many porta potties are you going to provide? It just, those kind of logistics kind of have to be gone through, or else things get sticky and people get upset. And I just, like I said, he did it for a 3-month period, and he was gonna do it every Saturday. And so that's what, I think it just needs to be dialed in a little bit tighter.
You know, like your first one you want to do is the farm to table.
Right.
If you come back 6 months from now and say you want to do a wedding out there, we're going to need to hear about it.
Right.
That it's going to be a wedding and it's going to be a lot of how many people it will be. But each event is going to have to come before this board and also notify neighbors.
Now, the last one that we did in the Mancos area, we had a specific drawing as far as parking. Porta potty placements. Granted, there was overnight camping. Is there any overnight camping?
Not right now, but we've thought about that.
There might be tents or something like that.
Yeah. So that also plays into the neighbors. You've got people out at night. You've got bonfires. I mean, it just goes into a whole array of things that aren't answered.
That was the little bluegrass festival they had, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that application.
And where the parking was,
Where the parking was.
it was quite specific.
Which they moved that into the park in Mancos.
Because of
Same weekend.
There were some other things I was thinking of too. And I was curious about the letter talking about the illegal dirt road, which you'll get a driveway permit for. I noticed a lot of dry grass. I mean, where you park cars, you're certainly
mowed
going to
down.
mow and.
It's already mowed, yeah.
Okay, I kind of saw it down there in the corner. Signage was another thing. I mean, we have to have some kind of signage making the traffic on that road aware. And maybe even ahead of time, there's an event planned for 9:30, like several days ahead or a week ahead. And then on the day of the event, you need to warn traffic that there's going to be people turning in and out. So I think we're going to require, as far as I'm concerned, we would require some kind of signage on the road. And I imagine CDOT would possibly say the same thing. But and then we talked about restrooms, trash, and some kind of wash stations. You said you had a big thing of water. I mean,
We have a big potable water tank. yeah,
usually
that
after
goes-
people go to the bathroom, they kind of like to wash their hands. or
Which
before
was
they eat,
Melissa's
so that'd be-
concern.
Okay.
They have portable wash stations that are
Right.
set up.
We built a double basin portable wash station.
Okay.
Any review from the sheriff's department?
No, I sent out agency comments. I haven't heard anything yet.
I want you to know I like this stuff. I really do. I go out and enjoy this kind of activity. I think they just, it needs to be done properly.
Right, and I understand that. This is kind of our first stab at it.
Gotcha.
We are very new at this. And so yeah, this is kind of our first stab at it.
Let's stop right now and see some of the concerns of the neighbors. So I'll open this up to the public and come up in whatever order and please name
I'd like to
and
speak.
name
My
and
name's
address.
Alan Farnsworth. I'm a neighboring property owner. And I did send a letter in, I faxed it in earlier in the week. I don't know if you guys got it.
Yeah.
But here's another copy. I have a lot of the same concerns as you have. The application wasn't specific enough. So I don't know what's going on. Is it going to be a biker rally, or is it going to be every weekend? You know, those things concern me. The noise level, you know, we live out there because it's quiet and peaceful, and it's zoned that way. So I'm concerned about the noise. We're going to have amplified music. Will it be late into the evening, every other weekend, or how often is this going to be? The permit didn't specify any of this stuff.
We will.
Light pollution, you know, we like our night skies out there. I don't want a bunch of lights. The highway issue is a big deal. those trucks and cars are coming over that hill at 65 miles an hour, and either of those spots is inadequate for people getting on or off that highway.
And that was basically why I brought up signage.
Right. The fire mitigation, if a fire gets off his property, it's coming over to mine or across the highway. So that needs to be addressed and treated. The weeds are mowed now, but will they always be mowed? The sanitation issue, that outhouse is built basically right over Chicken Creek. I mean, it's just a bad spot. You can't put an outhouse that close and expect 100 people to use it right over the creek. It just doesn't make any sense. And lastly, I think there's a lot of existing venues within a mile or two of the proposed area. And I just think it's a big impact on our residential area, and I'm pretty suspect of this whole process right now. So that's what I have to say. I will say, too, the people across the street from there, if there's any noise down below, it's like conducted right up to their houses. And they don't live there for that. We live out in the county for a reason.
Well, let's understand one thing. We're talking 3-4 events a year.
Well, we didn't know that. It wasn't
okay.
sent in that way.
You know, it's not going to be an every night thing.
Now that you're saying that, but I want to see it in paper,
Uh-huh.
that it isn't going to be, Sugar Pine Rally was 4 or 5 miles from my house. One weekend a year, I could put up with that. But, if that went on all summer, it'd be a different story. So,
Well, it's kind of like campgrounds. I mean, we're going to set quiet time and open time.
yeah. But there's
And I'm
alcohol
sure that, I'm sure
involved.
he's concerned about his neighbors too. So he
Yeah.
can live among
Well, I know he's a hard worker. I see him out there all the time. But, we have property rights too.
Right.
And it's not zoned for that kind of activity. So,
Anybody else?
I will say I've never had a problem with Tyler as a neighbor. The
Name
couple
and address.
events he's had have been really quiet and low key. And my name's David Schisler. I'm at 10150 County Road 41.4. I'm directly across the street from him there. And
So yours is the place on 184?
yes.
Okay.
And we received just kind of the cover page and the map as a certified letter, not the whole package. And so, we're kind of like, what the heck? But the key word that kind of concerns me is the hosting the weddings, because I know a wedding event doesn't shut down at 7 o'clock in the evening. Those will tend to run late at night. A lot of drinking, bands, noise. That's our major concern, is noise. We like to sleep with the windows open in the summertime, and having large alcohol-fueled parties across the street would really concern us. Then the second, that would lead to excessive camping. If you're having a large party like that, you got a couple buses parked there. You've had your friends camping in all summer. Haven't had any problem, but with a large party of 50 to 100 people, is it just going to be a tent city campground down there? We don't know. Would that lead to litter and sanitation issues? Third concern is traffic. Right now, that access across from SunWest Estates, there's no road base there. It's just you're pulling off into the field. With a rainstorm like we had today, that would be a mud pit. I don't want his guests coming across the street and using my property as a parking lot. Of course, fourth concern is fire. The parking lot is a grassy field. Hate for somebody just to flick a cigarette butt down and start a fire there. We've had problems with fireworks coming from that property. We don't want that to continue. I'd ask the board definitely to limit the number of events if granted. And the time of events, I see that in the county use code, it's between 7 at night and 7 a.m. is quiet time, and we'd like you to respect that, and that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Just getting back to you, the access, if that becomes a approved driveway, the access will change. I mean, it won't be just a little dirt.
It'll have
Be
to
a
meet county
culvert,
specs.
It'll be county specs, so. I drove into the place, I drove down to the little shed to the north there, and, I took a pretty good view of it, and to me, it seems like a lot of the land is not level, pretty good slopes. And I did notice tall grass, which, concerns about fire. I noticed you had side rows, but I didn't see where you had really done any irrigating. At least nothing was green at the time. You had some good-looking turkeys. But, we're taking all this into consideration. I want everybody to know that, because we have the same concerns you do, and I'm sure he does also. So, any further comments?
Howard Cantor, live at 10180 Road 41.4, which is in Sunwest Estates, across the street. And I'm probably going to repeat a couple of things that you've already heard, but I'm going to repeat them. We bought our home in Sunwest Estates so we could live in a peaceful, healthy environment. We enjoy the peace and quiet, fresh air, and the wildlife that we have come to appreciate more than we thought possible. Having these events, this event venue, so close to us will certainly impact our lifestyle. We feel that this will take away our right to enjoy our own property. We are also concerned that this type of business will have a negative impact on our property values. We would not have bought our home had we known that a event venue was going to be directly across the street from us. We have enjoyed 11 years here and hope for many more. We live directly across from Mr. Hoyt's property. A major concern is safety. Having these events so close to us pose a threat of traffic accidents and fire hazards. You all are aware of the traffic on 184. A lot of heavy traffic, semis, logging trucks. These vehicles do not stop in 150 feet if they have to. And if he's got several vehicles lined up on that road waiting patiently to get into his property, and one of these logging trucks comes over that little rise, it's going to be catastrophic. And I don't care how many signs you put out there on the road. Event up ahead. You think every one of these logging truck drivers pays that much attention?
Yeah, I do. I drove trucks, so you do
Well,
pay attention. Yeah.
well, okay, they do, but accidents happen. Accidents happen.
You're turning into 41.2 up the same highway, just right across from his turning.
Exactly. I slow down way in advance, turn my signal on, and it's one vehicle pulling in, not a line of maybe 10 or 12 vehicles that are waiting in line to get into his venue. That's a different story than one vehicle slowing down to pull into Sunwest. The speed limit in this section is 65 miles an hour. Very dangerous. The possibility of alcohol-related accidents are a very real threat. The fact that 100-plus cars could be parked in a dry, grassy area where the venue is would have the risk of brush fires, starting with issues like the catalytic converters on cars. We all know how often that can happen with a catalytic converter parked in a grassy field. It happens. The wildlife is also going to be impacted from additional traffic and fire hazard. The noise from these events will make a significant impact on us. And where the noise is concerned, I know we're all talking about, well, keep it down to 70 decibels, whatever. I don't know if any of you have ever been to an amphitheater for an event, a lecture, maybe a Shakespearean play. a small concert. Amphitheater's been around since Shakespeare's day, and they're designed because they're perfect acoustically. They don't need a microphone or a sound system. The guy in the last row can hear the conversation on the stage. Where his events are going to be held is in a low spot. You've been out there, you've seen it. Slowly rises up to 184. On the other side of the road is Sunwest Estates, and that slowly rises up to the back of our development where the cul-de-sac is. And that hillside is a semicircular hillside. It's a natural, yeah. When they were building that shed of theirs down there, I heard every hammer fall on every nail at my house. The sound carries fabulously. That's a concern to us. If they're having events over there, and I'm trying to sleep or just stay in my living room with my windows open when it's a gorgeous night out, I don't want to have to listen to what's going on down there, conversation, laughing, whatever it is. What are they going to have, a boom box at the wedding with Simon and Garfunkel tapes? I don't think so. Probably not.
I do too.
I do too. And I wish that would be the
I think
answer.
he's referring to.
But I'm saying I'm not expecting that. I'm using Simon and Garfunkel as a good example, not a negative one. You may have a bunch of deadheads down there listening to the best of the Grateful Dead. I don't know. I'm just saying. These are all possibilities. They're not possibilities I want to live with. And he wants to hold weddings, bar mitzvahs, sweet 16s, etc. It's the etc. I'm worried about. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, he says what he's saying now. 2.5 years from now, all of a sudden, the West Hollywood Harley-Davidson group wants to hold a meeting there, or 2 of their members are getting married, and hey, we've got about 150 bikers that want to come for the wedding. Can you host us? Yeah, absolutely. Now I've got 150 motorcycles across the road from me. I mean, what he's saying now, things change. Everything is subject to change. That's what I'm afraid of. It starts here. We open up the door today. We open up the door. He gets his foot in there. What happens after that?
I think you've heard us say that he's not going to get an open application to have any type of
Okay,
event he wants.
okay.
And that any event he wants is going to have to come
Yeah.
before this board and be notified of the public.
I understand. I
think
heard
you're
you.
panicking.
I'm just voicing, my concerns.
Well, you're concerned, there's 365 days in a year. And you're acting like this is going to ruin your life if he has 2 weekends a year that he has an event. I mean, there's property rights, your property rights, but property rights go across the fence, and he's got property rights too.
Yeah, but there wasn't an event venue there before, and I don't know that we need one across the street from my house. I'm just saying that.
He does have property rights, but it's agriculturally zoned, not for high impact stuff.
Yeah. We're looking to change what he's entitled to down there. I'd rather not see a change. I'd rather not see a change.
Don't talk over people.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I started to get a little bit animated. Didn't mean to. I just
Well,
wanted
I'm sure
to.
it didn't help being provided the limited information that you were provided.
Yeah.
That
It was
absolutely
very
probably
limited.
didn't come across as very transparent in the least. But I do have where he signed that he was going to send this packet.
Howard did not receive anything in the mail.
No, I didn't
Well, and
get
it's only
anything.
adjacent property owners.
Yeah.
So it's only the people that are directly around.
Okay. Look,
Yeah.
thank you for giving me the time to talk to you. Sorry if I got a little bit.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Come on up. Ladies first, or?
No, I just got one, a
Okay.
couple of good things to say. My name is Pete Cruiser. I live in 10405 Road 41.4.
Can you say that again, please, sir?
Pete Cruiser, Cruser, 10405 Road 41.4, up in Sunwest Estates. And I finally got a whole package of the whole thing, the whole application. And it appeared to me that Tyler, for some reason or other, somebody said, hey, you need an impact permit to do that, and he went and filled out the whole thing, which was really, from my point of view, not very well done. Could have been done a heck of a lot better, as you well know. There are a lot of concerns that have been voiced here previously. My question is, in an event like this for the farm to table thing, do you really need a whole high impact and special use permit, or can you just do it with a special use permit, which seems to me would be a lot easier?
Well, if it was one.
Over to you. That's it.
Right?
So the special use permit is in place because you're having a use that's temporary or interim in nature.
Mhm.
So you don't have to rezone. So a special use permit is in lieu of rezoning.
Right.
Okay? Your high impact permit, we have those 33 threshold standards that you saw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anytime you exceed one of those, that kicks in the high impact permit process.
Okay.
So if you, and 99% of the time, it's usually traffic that kicks that in, because it's 15 round trips per day. And if you're above that, then you have to go through the high impact permit process.
Okay.
So that's the difference between the two. So
Yeah, so something like the farm to table event, a smaller event that was proposed, could do it on a special use?
well, there's 50 round. He's proposing 50
Or
people,
that
so that's
puts it
more
right
than
back into the same
15.
category. Okay.
If you bust
All right. I wonder
people
where the split is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, put one of them buses to work.
Yeah, there you go.
So my name is Joey Schisler, 10150 Road 41.4 in Sunwest Estates. And then I'm David's husband. What? Wife. Wife! Sorry. My bad. I'm David's husband. David is my husband. There, is that a better way to say it? I mean, we enjoy having you as a neighbor. It's been good. No problems or anything like that, but we just want to keep it that way. And it is really hard to comment on it because I guess we haven't been given the whole packet of information, and then also maybe not a clear view of exactly what you want to do. So it is real easy for the mind to wander into straight like biker rally because you're trying to make money at it and you're going to make money at whatever you can possibly do. And if we could just reinforce that, I mean, we all bought our property to have peaceful, quiet, rural homes and enjoy the peace and quiet of nature. We don't want to live next to a venue, and I can speak for a lot of us, I think, saying that. I wasn't given a whole lot of time to talk to everybody at SunWest. You got neutral to kind of negative response of the people I could talk to, but I couldn't talk to everybody. I didn't have enough time. And so for the future, can SunWest Estates be included and have more time to review it as a whole? I mean, our entrance is right there. I don't know how you can consider us not having an interest in this. I know we don't exactly border the property. But like, this is us, right?
I'm like, you're hiding my property.
This is my house. So here's our entrance, and here's his proposed event site. Whatever he built here, whatever tents go up there, whatever porta-johns get lined up there, wherever the cars are parked. That's exactly what we see when we go out. We're facing it. It's right there, and I think we have a big interest in it. And like Howard was trying to explain, this is built on an incline where this does go up, and you really can adjust the graph. You really can hear a lot of us there. So I mean, can we be included and have more time to review these things and as an HOA in the future?
Were you asking if you could have more time?
Yes.
You will have more time on a future. The way I see it, there seems to be no complaint about his farm to table, his first event. And even though he has done this incorrectly, because it's the 30th and it is a good thing, farm to table, and I'll agree with that. I mean, I can't tell you how the board's gonna vote.
Mhm.
What I can tell you my feelings is that this first event, without having any issues with neighbors, I would like to see happen. And I would like to see him put out a full package to all the neighbors, adjoining neighbors, and any future events that he wants to have, you know, everybody would have the same comment, and we would have, you know, things we would want to attach to it, like signage and different things, and how many porta potties, and where they would be placed, and I, you know, that's the first thing I said to him before, was the tall grass, and where's the parking? I mean, when we see these things, and we don't want to start a fire, and we know parking cars on tall grass will start a fire, and we're not going to allow that to happen. I mean, but this first event, I would like to see go through just because there's no opposition.
I don't think anybody
And
does.
it's a learning, he's at a learning point for him, and after that, I think, you know, the correct mail and everything has to go out, and maybe you guys can sit down and meet about some of this stuff, but,
Well, the original idea of the application was very open-ended, which brought in all sorts of concerns about, like, music, live music, amplified music.
you know, I'm going
You
to
know,
say the same thing I said to everybody, and this is something I can't understand. 365 days in a year, and if he disrupts you for 2 weekends,
Right.
is it really going to ruin your life?
Well, it doesn't have anything about frequency in it either. I mean, my question is, in the future, how will we be notified about what is the frequency then? Okay, so it's not 365 days a year. I mean, so what is it? Are we going to start all over and do this all over again?
Well, and
With a public hearing,
Tyler and I
or?
initially spoke about this. I did bring that up and say they could limit, you know, the hours that you actually have these events, or the frequency that you have these events. But you know, and initially, just trying to get the farm to table,
Mhm.
school to farm. Which one?
School to farm.
Okay,
School to farm.
Wanted to make sure that we got that taken care of for sure. Already knew, you know, especially after the mailings didn't go out correctly, and there was, you know, some confusion with that it was going to be continued till next month. So we have another month until the next planning commission to at least clarify some of the things that you guys are concerned with and address those issues.
So like as the process goes, like where we're at right now, we'd be at the same spot next month, except we'd have more definitive information, and then we have time to sort of review and come back and do it again. Is that okay? I see what you're saying. So I think that kind of covers it for me.
And then we'd also have some input from the first event, you know, how it went. And
Well, he's had them before. I mean, we've seen him several times, haven't we?
We had our wedding
3.
last year and one other wedding earlier this year for a friend.
Was that when my dog ran away and went over to
Oh,
your
that
house?
was
Wasn't that a farm to table?
That was a potluck that we had with the farmers.
Okay, I assume in my mind the farm to table looks like that.
That's about what it
That's pretty much what it is. It's like a picnic with people walking around with watermelons, and I don't think anybody has a problem with that
No, there's no
as
rock
much
and roll
as.
music, there's no motorcycles unless somebody shows up on a motorcycle. It's not illegal.
Right.
So what's the date planned for your first event?
The 30th. And so like Bob said, that would allow time for, you know, people to come back in and do this again and actually give some feed and input on what happened, how it
Which
went.
that would be October 12th. If you want to put it on your calendar for the next planning.
For the record, I'm opposed to the first event. You guys have done it kind of sloppily with not letting the adjacent homeowners know.
What was your
And does this, Alan Farnsworth, and does this, you know, kind of a gateway to more events? I think it ought to be done right off the bat. And that's how I feel about it.
You're not giving us enough information to make a good decision on this.
it was my understanding that, and you're the first one I've heard that had an objection to this. I just mentioned that, and no one said they had an objection, and then you get up with an objection. I mean, this is a tough one. I'll admit that. because he messed up on his application and the mailings and didn't realize what the process really is. It's like a learning process for him. And I think having this one event would be a learning process for all of us, including all of you. And like I said, any future events, I mean, if he wants a motorcycle rally, we're going to have to hear about it, and you're all going to hear about it. But come on up.
Hi, Pete Cruz again. A real procedural question. It sounds to me like we're all kind of pretty much in favor of the event on the 30th.
I don't have anybody here.
I know, but
we haven't discussed
I know, I realize that, but the impression I'm getting as we're going along doing this is it's not going to be an unfavorable thing, which I think fits most of our minds. Now, in order to approve that, do you have to approve this particular application for high impact? Because that's the major brunt of this, and we do not like this application, period. Okay.
I'd be okay with that if you're not approving this whole
Yep.
process.
Yep, that was stated at the beginning, just simply because of the duration, the time that we have from now till the event. And so that was
As
just,
well as the incomplete mailings.
yes, and that was just for this one only.
Yeah. So again, it would be October 12th would be when it would be reviewed again. So nothing would be allowed to happen after the 30th, September 30th, and I mean, that would be the only thing that would be allowed by the county. And that's if the commissioners approve it.
And that's if this board approves it tonight.
Correct. Start with that.
Any other comments from the audience? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission. Discussion?
Well, like I told Tyler, I've attended these events. They're mild, they're pretty mellow. I haven't seen problems with it. The problem I have with it is just making sure that kind of has a good idea who's going to show up, how many of them are going to be, provide sanitation for them. That means you're going to have to put porta potties in, you have to do wash stations, you're going to have trash service, you're probably going to have signage on the road. I think it's a great idea. I love these events, but I just don't know how to walk this road unless all those contingencies are met.
You've had events similar to this already?
I mean, we had a potluck
on a
this
smaller
year that was
scale.
Probably a little bit. I mean, there's maybe like 20 people at that.
Okay, so
Probably people have had parties bigger than that.
any
without going through
concerns?
the permit process.
Any concerns from your neighbors during those?
This is the first time I've heard concern from anybody.
So what brought you in here?
The school to farm permit had a liquor license attached to it, which brought this all up.
Okay,
That's what we're doing here.
because since you'd done this on a
And they
smaller
came to
scale
me
before.
about a month and a half ago and started this whole thing. They asked me if I wanted to host it for them. I said, of course. And I didn't even think about needing a high impact permit until they contacted the county for the liquor license, and then it started the whole chain of events.
Did I just hear you right? School to farm
It's the Montezuma School to Farm project.
with a
is
liquor
the-
license.
So in their crew, the Mays Valley Resources.
That was just a small, funny thing. So.
Any discussion? Anybody want to give an opinion here? Or-
You know what? I'll give an opinion. I'm kind of with these folks. If that's what they want to do and they're willing to see how it goes, as long as the contingencies are in place that he does it properly, I'm fine with it. These guys are going to find out when the next events happen. If it's not fine, they're going to be in here going like this. So that's my discussion. If he's willing to put forth the effort to take care of the contingencies.
Well, that's what I feel, same way. That we need to let this happen because it is a good event, pretty special thing, and from this point on, do everything correctly and see how this one goes. I mean, I encourage this type thing because it brings money to the county, it brings business to the county, it brings people to the county. We've had dog events. Remember the dog event? I mean, a lot of people complained about it at first, but it was a great thing.
Haven't heard a word since.
Huh?
Haven't heard a word since.
You said something about a tent. You already have a tent set up out there?
Yeah,
I didn't see
the
it.
20 by 40, you just pop out. We take everything but the frame down.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see that, but.
The frame is up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So we are gonna continue this hearing, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
But I'd like to make a motion to the county commissioners to approve, and I'm not going to read what you have written here because it doesn't go with
No,
what I
please
want
don't.
to approve. I just want
Go
to.
rogue.
Huh?
Go rogue.
I'm going rogue. Shooting from the hip.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to approve this first event based on what it is and the fact that 99% of the neighbors are not opposing it, and that he would need to come back and, well, he would need to, after this, do the correct type of permit with his mailings and all that. And we would continue that to the 12th, and we would also at that time have a review of how his first event went and contingencies. We're going to talk about signage as the warning of an event taking place ahead. We're going to need sanitation. And I imagine he'll work with our health department to the amount of people of how many porta potties he would need. We need something with trash to be handled properly. We're going to need wash station, which we already have.
Do that with the sanitation.
We're going to need a driveway permit.
Deal with the CDOT access?
Huh?
Deal with the CDOT access?
For the first event. Always leave it like it is for the first event.
I'll just make sure that whatever is in place, if it's all right with you all, just to make sure that whatever agreement they have in place, that whatever access is gonna be used is the one that's used.
On this first event, you said there's not going to be any music or
There'll be light music. Yeah.
live music. These don't go into late night. do
No,
they?
it'll be done by dark.
Can you give a time?
Sure,
Huh?
Can you give a time?
Yeah. Let's see, this is September 30th, so getting dark at 8:30. Let's quiet time after 7. I mean, even if turning down the music, I have nothing against playing music as long as it's not loud enough to be affecting people. I'm needing some help here, guys. Come up with some stuff.
I think the time was the only thing I have, and the neighbors know when the event's gonna end,
Mhm.
so you have an ending time.
Do you have any plan to overnight camping for this first event?
Do you wanna address, the parking area being,
That was coming up.
okay, sorry. You asked.
Your parking area has to be mowed.
It doesn't exist before this.
And you're aware that a car may park would need mowed.
And that's possibly something we'd like to see as far as a map goes, where the event is actually held on the property, where you plan to park vehicles, where do you plan to put wash receptacles, restrooms.
So a site map.
Yeah, basically because you've got surrounding homes and you've got people coming and going at night, and you don't want 500 traffic lights going across your window at night, you know. So just something to go forward so we can have that to look at too.
I hope you don't think we're piling on you here, but we want to make this where you can do it right, where you will have the least resistance and that it could be successful. We want to work with you. I think what you're thinking of doing is great. And we just need to go by the rules of the county. Although I hate rules myself, but you have no choice there. Think of anything else?
I have signage, event ahead, which that'll have to go through CDOT as well, because they have a lot more strict rules than we do as far as signage on roads. Sanitation, the portable toilets, how he's going to get rid of refuse, making sure that they have wash stations, making sure the CDOT access is secured, quiet after 7 p.m. The parking area needs to be mowed. The event is done by 7 p.m. And we have a site plan for the commissioners meeting.
Now, the event doesn't have to end by 7.
Or the
Quiet
music.
time.
The music
Quiet
comes
time.
in place.
I mean, the event could end at 9:30, 10.
Well, what about portable lighting? You have lighting set up
There's lighting set
at
up.
night? Okay,
Yeah.
what do you see? Do you have downcast lighting? Do you have big portable generators?
It's all LED. That is, it's most of it's inside of the barn actually, and then along pathways and the driveway is the little solar
Okay.
stakes that we.
So you're not going to rent the big towers
Absolutely
like
not.
you'd see at a construction
No,
site?
we
Okay.
understand living in the country.
Okay.
We moved there
We
for
just
a
have to
reason.
ask you. You'd be surprised. That's all I got.
Can't think of anything else.
I think the only food, which that'll go through the health department as well. You'll have to make sure that you get that. So other than that,
How do you get an invitation to this?
There's flyers all over town actually.
Oh, okay.
Probably not giving them such a hard time would help.
I give you a hard time.
Yeah, we're just hosting. This is not ours. We're just hosting.
Okay, that's my motion. I hear a second.
Well, based on the neighbors said they didn't care about the first one, I think it's probably a good thing to second it and let him see what he can do, see if they stay happy. So I'll second it.
I agree. And, just for the record, the farm to school, the school to farm, whatever you call that, I think that's one of the best things that, teaching these kids to learn something good like that. And I think it's great. Those kind of events, so.
As far as discussion on the motion, I just want to have it written to the commissioners that we are doing this is as a test. Okay? Let them know, kind of, and I'll probably come to the meeting that this goes before the commissioners, just in case they have questions for us.
Just
Okay.
space for future events.
Oh, yeah,
We'll go
the
before the
site
commissioners
map.
this next Monday.
not this coming Monday, the following.
The commissioners won't be.
Yeah, it won't be until the 25th. Yeah, because the agenda has to be posted by today.
Okay.
Okay. Can we vote?
Commissioner Clayton,
Since I made the motion, I guess I'll say aye.
Commissioner Belt,
Aye.
Commissioner Boyd,
Aye.
Commissioner Pope,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Was that an aye?
Nay.
It's a nay.
A nay?
No.
Okay, motion passed. And the vote was 4 to 1.
Okay.
Discussion. All right, good luck.
So
Yeah,
you
good
will,
luck.
I will call, or I will email you by Monday and let you know what time you're on the agenda. For the.
Thank everyone for their
Thank you,
comments.
If anyone would like to talk further as well, my business cards. Love to talk either after this or at any point in the next couple weeks or whenever you feel like you want to reach out. Merle, yeah.
Oh, not
How you
these.
doing?
Okay, thank you.
We don't get out much.
Yes.
I don't either.
Okay.